Right, so folks, we need all the skippers and we also need all the nation drivers, please. We need you here for a meeting at the staging area. Thank you. I need you for a meeting at the staging area. And that includes the Americans. Team USA, we need your skippers and we need your drivers up here urgently. Thank you, guys. We've got a meeting that we need to have. Thank you very much. Right, so out and about today, of course. Weather-wise, we don't really have much rain to talk about. There is a chance of a thunder shower later this afternoon, so just be prepared for that. Weather-wise, look at a high of 25 out and about on the Vaal Triangle today. And, of course, wind that sometimes plays an important factor, and not really so good this morning. You know, well, actually not so bad. Up to a maximum of 13 kilometers an hour northwesterly, so it's not too shabby. Weather-wise, like I said, 25, the high starting off this morning at 14. Tomorrow, though, might be a challenge for some anglers and skippers, as we are expecting a little bit of rain to come through sort of mid-morning into the early afternoon, and hopefully clearing up by the time we get to the way stations tomorrow afternoon.
Here's Germany and Russia. Germany and Russia. The skippers. I just wanted to let the guys know that the pairings on the Waymasters from last night's meeting will get updated as soon as the guys depart. So you know that the pairings, the changes that we made last night will happen as soon as the guys depart. Correct. The FIPS paperwork is filled in, it's just not been updated on Waymasters yet. Right, skippers of nation, or drivers of nations, rather is a better way of saying it, it's skippers of nations. I don't know how to explain this to you guys in simple English. Maybe what do you say?
Good morning and welcome back to day 2 of the 13th Black Bass World Championships. Again, I'm your host, MC, whatever you want to call me, just a passionate angler here on the Vaal River, trying to present you the best possible coverage as we can. And welcome to all of you viewers out there from all over the world. We're super proud to have been able to present to you yesterday in that mammoth process. Sorry, Bennett, the mammoth process of that weigh-in. And a great day yesterday, some decent bags coming in, but definitely a different weather pattern that's pulled in here this morning. Much better visibility. A little bit of mist this morning, but very thankful to not have that rain here. And we're going to do our best to get out on the water this morning and really try and focus on bringing you some on-the-water footage from the anglers. We're going to try and preempt some of the anglers to allow us to do the live preview with them, so by the time we get to them that we can start rolling immediately live. I think tomorrow is going to be a bit of a toil. Definite rain. We had, I think, 5 or 10 mils of rain yesterday. Certainly didn't feel like it, and we got 17 mils of rain pulling in tomorrow, so going to be really difficult to bring you coverage, but I will make this promise to you, as I did before. We will do our best to bring you that on the water footage that you guys want to see. The coverage is very different. It's very difficult. Anytime we pull up to anglers in a specific area where we have good reception, the anglers maybe not so excited to be live. Possibly because it was day 1. Maybe they'll be a little bit more open to going live with us here on day 2. And hopefully we get a lot better signal with a clear cover here. But I want to introduce you, while we have the captain's meeting in the background, I want to introduce you to a very, very key individual in this tournament. And today I'm going to try and bring you a couple of the behind-the-scenes people up here on stage, that you can meet them and understand what we're going through. And I'm very happy to have a good friend of ours down from the Western Cape. He is the creator and originator of Waymasters.net. You've heard me say those words many, many times. Johan, thank you for taking the time to come and talk to us. And thank you for all the efforts that you've put into this tournament. We're very happy to have you here.
Thank you very much, Mark. It's a pleasure. It's always fun to be around the tournament. I love the environment. I love being amongst the anglers. I'm an angler at heart. And yeah, it's been fantastic here. It's been an exciting tournament. And it's been an exciting path to get here with everybody that worked very, very hard to make this a success.
Yeah, so a very interesting comment to make. You're an angler at heart. And I think for the viewers all overseas, that maybe they see the production and they see the live footage and they see Waymasters.net, and maybe they think that it's much like the USA, where the coverage and the footage that we bring is from you know, a massive production crew, and where the guys that do this for the job. I think the real professionals are the guys that are behind the cameras here today, and the guys from Libra Vision. But myself and you, I think we're just anglers that got stuck in the middle of this this path, and we got on this fast train going to who knows where, and we've just put our passions first and developed something to try and bring the, let's say, up the ante in South Africa.
Absolutely, Mark. Yeah, that you know, as you rightly know, that I've took a break from angling for many, many years, where I spent time with my children, where they were participating in their sports, supporting them. And the one thing that I realized while helping them and while, you know, supporting them, is that they traveled all over the world competing, and I could not always go with them, but I could follow them all over the world, and the passion in their sport stayed at home while they were competing overseas. And when I returned back into bass fishing, I realized we had this gap. You know, the first, basically within the first 2 months after I joined bass fishing again, in the bass fishing fraternity after taking a break, there was a Region 5 on here in Southern Africa, and I was very, very keen to see what our team were doing there. And they were doing very, very well, but there was no ways that we could see what they were doing. And as a passionate angler, I thought we need to do something about this. You know, we need to put something in place that we can follow our anglers and not get results a week after they finished and won or came second. You know, as I said, a passionate angler at heart, and having the right environment in my business where we could develop software, I decided that maybe it's time to put something back into the sport, where we can actually share the results, share the information, and be with our teams where they are, wherever they're fishing, with the individual anglers, with our loved ones, fathers, dads, sons, daughters, wherever they were fishing, that we could, you know, we could follow them. And it just became an absolute passion to do Waymasters so that we could share information with our loved ones at home.
Well, we know that we rolled it out in the Western Cape, I think, in the beginning days, and we used it in our divisional seasons down there. I know when I first started fishing, I must just say, when I first started bass fishing and I came into the competition, Johan was one of the top anglers that I really, really looked up to in the sport. So it's very cool to actually work with you and go through this process of the Waymasters with you. I know we've discussed a lot about it and really pushing it and stretching it and stretching it. And every time I asked, hey, Johan, you know, is this possible? Is it possible to put the YouTube link up there? It was, yeah, Mark, let me come back to you. And I think it was a day or two later, I get screenshots, I get links, I have information, and it's just done. So it's been an absolute pleasure from that perspective. But just tell me a little bit more about the software. Is it only limited to South Africa? Is it only limited to bass fishing tournaments, or what is the deal?
Mark, no, not at all. When we started planning the whole Waymasters scene, the first thing that we said is this: okay, the most important part, it will only work if it's available to everybody, if it's for free. It needs to cover all facets of angling, and you know, it needs to be a multilingual system. And we basically then started building the system immediately to cater for all the facets, to be multilingual. And right now we've translated it into all the languages of all the countries participating here in World Champs. And yeah, it caters for bass angling, you know, bank angling, species angling, rock and surf. It caters for all the facets, and it's absolutely free for everybody to use out there.
Yeah, it's fantastic that we can break those language barriers. I think that's very, very key. I had a huge amount of comments, and unfortunately I couldn't, I don't have enough time to read them all. So I'll just take a moment and thank everybody that commented on Facebook, on YouTube, from all over the world. Thank you very much. I wish I could speak 13 different languages, because I would like to thank them in all their 13 different languages. But it's great that we can break those language barriers. I thank you, Johan, for coming to chat to me. I know that you're doing a huge amount of effort, and I just wanted to again say thanks very much for building this awesome platform. And I hope that FIPSED roll it out all over the world, and that we can actually use this platform in the 2019 World Games, which will be live here in South Africa. So I'm going to leave you guys there. Myself and Johan are going to go up and get our next interview ready. Enjoy the scenery as the sun rises from the Free State side over the Vaal River. We've got these beautiful rigs down here. Let's enjoy this, and soon we'll have the South African national anthem. We got about 10 minutes till we get this party started. And I want to welcome up my good friend John Badenhorst from Wolf Lures, and the mouthpiece behind the show, calling in all the anglers every day. John, much like myself and Johan from the Waymasters, we got a little bit steamrolled. You also got on this fast train with us when it comes in terms of presenting these sort of things. I know you have a history in radio presentation. You're also a passionate angler as well, which is where this all started. Tell me a little bit about this process that we've got to get to here.
You know what, Mark, it's been so exciting. You know, a couple of years ago, I thought to myself, maybe.
You can see that he's a professional, how he took the mic from me there. Did you see that?
So a couple of years ago, I thought maybe it would be exciting to try and make bass fishing a little bit more of a let's try that again. Yep, rewind. There we go. All right, try and make it more of a spectator sport, and of course, get the audience involved. And that is what has been passionate for me as well, is because, you know, it's not just about the fishing. It's about the vibe. It's about creating something exciting for spectators in South Africa. And it's been a while since, you know, we haven't really had that sort of interaction, and now, you know, it's just getting there. And it started off like 3 months ago or something. They asked me to do the presenting on a competition, and it went so well that I then went down to Interprovs, and the guys said, hey, listen, how about World Championships? So you know what, I'm getting to work with great people like Mark Bywater, and you know what, folks, I tell you what, it is so much fun being down here, being a part of making history in South African bass angling. It's absolutely amazing. And like Mark said, you know, for me, it's important because I am a dedicated bass angler. So when somebody like Mark or myself do announcements, or we talk about conditions on the river, it's because we're talking from a field of experience. We know what we're talking about, and I suppose that makes it different. You know, you can be a normal announcer, but when you come out here and you've got a background in bass fishing and you understand the conditions and the bass culture, it does make a big difference. So, you know, totally excited to be here early up in the morning, 3:30, 4 o'clock, getting down here. And I'll tell you what, folks, you got to get down here. This is history in the making right here. It is absolutely phenomenal. We've got sunrises on the Vaal. We've got boats sitting out here. You can meet your favorite anglers from all around the world. We've got cool tunes going, and there's so much entertainment and action. And of course, tomorrow we've got a whole lot of entertainment for the kids available right here as well. So bring the family down, get you nice and early. And when I say early, I'm talking 5 a.m. if you want to see the guys come off the slipway and come and get themselves sorted out, take a couple of photos. This is where it's happening right here, right now. Emerald Casino and Resort, the 13th annual World Black Bass Fishing Championships. And of course, this afternoon you can catch Mark Bywater as we do the weigh-in. There we go. I mean, look at that smile. Hey, come on, you can only smile. Other people get up to go to work. We get up to come to work, and this is our job. So very, very nice to be here with you, Mark.
John, I'm not sure about you, but normally when you have a job, you get paid to do it. And I'm not getting paid to do it. It's all about passion, and that's what it is. I'm not going to give the mic back to him because, as Steve Engelbrecht alluded to yesterday, they're calling me Mr. Walk a Lot and they're calling you Mr. Talk a Lot. So, but talking about talk a lot, that weigh station process was brutal yesterday. It was about hour 46 minutes, I think we timed it, of non-stop talking and interviews.
You know what, the thing is, also for viewers, it's important to get that interaction so that, you know, they can get an idea of what the conditions are. And yes, I know it does take a little bit longer, but we are trying to speed up the process. When we went through the dry run, it was way longer than that. Yesterday, we cut down on it, and I think it's going to go much smoother today because the anglers themselves have got an idea of the protocol that the two of us follow on stage. The chat, the quick interview, and also there is a language barrier, but at least we speak the same language, and that is black bass.
Absolutely, speak the same language of fishing. And again, I say thanks to all the anglers that came up on stage yesterday. They put in a lot of effort to try and conversate with us in our mother tongue, English. And I think they did a fantastic job. It was absolutely awesome. But another individual that did an absolutely incredible job, the hardest job of this event, is Mike. Mike, if you will join me over here. Mike is our official weighmaster of this event. Mike, thank you very much for weighing in all of those fish yesterday. 39 boats. How was it?
It was quite an experience, I must admit. I realized it was going to be quite a challenge, but didn't quite expect it to take quite the full 2 hours. It was by far the longest weigh-in I've been involved in my fishing career. So, yeah. But at the end of the day, it all worked well, I think.
And the process that the anglers are following, maybe I've had a couple of questions online, guys saying, you know, why is there 2 bags? Why is it that we're weighing big fish separately? Is it necessary? Can we not weigh all the fish together?
So there's actually 2 reasons why we need the big fish. The first is the fact that there's a big fish category in terms of prizes. But the key one is the fact that the big fish is part of the tie-breaking system. It kicks in as the 4th tie break, so we do need to have a big fish at least for 1 big fish for each pair, as there may be a tie at the pair level as well. For that reason, we've been asked to make sure that there's at least 1 big fish weighed for each team.
So, and is that just for the first day, or is that all 3 days? So you're looking, I know you're working on that reverse Grand Prix system, as I call it. The FIPSED system is the penalty system, but it is for every single day that they weigh that 4 fish and the big fish separate.
Well, in theory, if an angler has weighed a bigger fish in one of the earlier days, then they do not need to do so. But in order to make sure that we don't have any glitches and it's fair to everyone, the International Committee have asked us that we do that on a daily basis, that we ask the anglers to identify their big fish and that we make sure that we weigh the biggest fish of the day for each pair.
Well, Mike, I'm going to cut it off there short. Thanks. I see everybody's preparing behind me here for the national anthem of South Africa, which is something new for us. It's emotional. I'm going to get off the camera and let's enjoy it.
You ready, Greg? Right, folks, let's take a moment as we play the host nation's national anthem.
Krans
Well, the vibe certainly is absolutely electric, emotional. We're about to get this party started. It's day 2 of the World Black Bass Championships. I'm going to take a moment to take a seat and let you guys enjoy these beautiful scenes. If you haven't already been down here, I invite you all, every single one of you, to join us here. As you can see, even husbands, wives, family, friends. There's going to be entertainment here, jumping castles, paintball lanes, climbing walls, everything. Food, beverages. It's going to be a fantastic event. I'll let you guys enjoy the scenery. I'm going to say good luck to my fellow South Africans and wish all the teams a fantastic morning.
All skippers, please can I have your attention?
Guys, good luck. Yo. Good luck, guys.
Just before the first corner, if you go towards the Millionaire's Bend, just before you can actually see it, there's a big lock in the water, and around the corner there's a lot of debris. Please be careful when you go to that direction.
Right, folks, 4 minutes to go.
And we got 4 minutes left, and we track this way. I'm going to pull on over here, and I'm going to put these gentlemen on the spot. I'm sure it's pretty easy to note where they are from. This is one of our key sponsors for Saba, Craig from Mercury Marine. Craig, how did the event for you?
So far, so good. It's been a fantastic turnout. Everyone's come to the party to put this event together, and without the help of yourself, the guys at Saba, the sponsors, you know, something like this wouldn't be possible. So we're extremely proud to be part of it.
Well, you're 100% correct. Without the sponsors, we wouldn't have this tournament. And I know Mercury Marine have... It's live, excuse me. Sometimes I need a cough. For this event, it wouldn't have been possible without Mercury Marine, and you've been a Saba sponsor for some years, putting a lot of time and effort into the sport. And well, I'm going to be controversial, and I'm going to say, if I were you, I wouldn't have been that happy, because there's not really that much that Saba and the rest of the bass fishing community have really given back to Mercury Marine, besides a couple of purchases. Now seeing this live coverage, Waymasters.net, all these relevant platforms for advertising, does that make you want to be involved a little bit more?
Absolutely. You know, the way things are changing, the coverage that we're getting now with live feeds like this, the social aspect of it, some of the print media, the publications, it's giving us a larger platform to expose ourselves on, and I think it's important to continue being supportive. You know, it needs continuity, and we're going to continue to do that. So we're looking forward to future events as well.
Well, as Vessi Vessels enlightens the skippers about a large log floating down the river, as he's very important notices that we get out to the anglers. Safety will always prevail. And a lot of the guys running some beautiful Mercury outboard engines. I had the opportunity to ride the boat that you kindly sponsored to us or lent to us when Gareth from Dryden Projects. What an absolutely beautiful boat. But that big 400 on the back, have you had opportunity to go on that?
I certainly have. That's one of the perks of the job. And yeah, it's certainly a thrill seeker. And anyone else interested to come have a demo, come down, get down here, and we'll give you a run.
Okay, so any of the spectators that want to get on board the boat and have a trip perhaps before or after the anglers come in through the gates, you're going to be offering that, demos on the boats?
Absolutely. You know, that's part of selling a boat. Part of the experience is to get hands-on, you know, so absolutely. If the guys are interested, we'll put it together.
Of course, we'll find the best opportunity that doesn't interfere with the anglers on the water and the tournament that we have running out here. But definitely those boats are very, very nice. And I did get a chance to chat to Francois yesterday about those boats. Francois, being your technical expert, we will cut a little bit over. We'll cut shortly over to that interview that I had yesterday with Francois. At the Mercury booth, I'm with Francois, who's the Senior Technical Advisor for Mercury South Africa. And Mercury South Africa are a big sponsorship of this 13th World Black Bass Championships here on the Vaal River. How does that feel?
No, we're very excited about the event. Like we said, it's for us, it's a privilege to be here and anglers supporting us with our product. And yeah, let's see what happens this week.
Well, firstly, I will, on behalf of SABA, thank you for being one of our top-tier sponsors and the support that you have given us this year, next year, and the previous years. We are very thankful to have you on board. And you've got a fantastic setup here. As you said, South African anglers are not normally used to having service crews and pit crews. Tell me a little bit about what they can expect this week.
Okay, we at Mercury, normally at all our fishing competitions which we sponsor, we are present at these comps to make sure if the product goes down, it gets repaired within minutes or sometimes hours. We go the extend mile stripping motors to get the customer back on the water. And yeah, that's our aim, to keep our customers happy and keep them on the water at all time.
Well, that's absolutely fantastic. And not only are you doing outboard engines, but tell me a little bit about the boats that you're going to be building now.
Yeah, we're very excited about the new range that we started with. We've got the Renegade, the Maverick and the Viper S. We just got the Viper S mold last year. We're currently on 3 boats. One of the boats that we actually built in South Africa now was exported back to Namibia. We've also completed a boat now for one of our pro anglers, Mr. Shannon Horman, who's currently running a 250 Pro XS. Then there's a new blue Viper we've just completed. It's going to be at the event this week. We're still waiting for him to deliver the boat. And yeah, we're very excited about the Vipers. The Vipers actually is from Zimbabwe. It was built and designed by Mr. Jerry Juster, which then Mr. Jürgen Geiger from Surf and Turf, one of our dealers in Windhoek, bought the molds. And then we kind of had an agreement with Mr. Geiger to bring over the molds to South Africa and to help promoting it and selling it as a complete boat package to our anglers.
Okay, so that's fantastic. So not only can you order yourself a new roughneck Viper S, but you can also add a engine on the back. Tell me, are you going to have a combination special package deal?
Yeah, we are going to look. The last boat we've did now, we've got a 200 Pro XS on. Shannon's boat's got a 250 on. We've got a client here, Mr. Gareth Dryden, that actually is interested in putting 2 300s on his 2 Vipers.
So, of course, in South Africa, we have no limitations to the outboard engines that we have, just the sanity and safety of the skipper and his passenger and his crew. Mercury as also the agents for Motor Guide, am I correct?
Yes, we do the whole Motor Guide range. We do the XI5, the R3, the X3s. The XI5, like we've got here, is wireless, which you can actually wire in with your Lowrance, or and it just makes your fishing life much easier.
Well, fantastic outboard engines and fantastic boats on show here at the 13th Black Bass World Championships. We're very proud to be associated with Mercury. We're very happy to have you. We thank you for all your service and for your efforts with regards to SABA as a whole. All these wonderful bits of equipment, tackle, we have outboard oils, boat supplies, batteries, everything on hand right here at the 13th Black Bass World Championships. So thank you once again. We look forward to catching up with you a little bit later. I'm looking forward to getting on that boat tomorrow along with my film crew, and I hope that the cameraman has brought a spare pair of underpants, because that's a 400 horsepower on the back.
John, can you give us a little bit more volume, please? C13 and C12 starts to me. C13 and 12, slowly make your way towards me and just wait right in front of me. You're not allowed to go yet, just idle towards me. C11 and 10, idle towards me. Behind those two boats, you're not allowed to leave yet. Slowly idle towards me. C9 is right. Just slowly, Pete, come towards me. C flight, ready to leave in 30 seconds. C10, fall in behind them. Not allowed to go yet. C flight, ready to leave in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, goes. C flight, you can go. Pete, you can go. C12, C11, C10, you can go. C9, be ready. You can go. C8, be ready. C9, you can go. C8, you can go. C7, you can go. C9, you can go. C6, be ready. C6, you can go. Double up and back up to the boat in front of you. C5, join in. C4, be ready. C5, you can go. C4, you can go. Double up and back up with the boat in front of you. C3, be ready. C3, C2, C1, you can go. Back up in front. Double up. Now wake him up.
Yeah, the climate here is just, I mean, I guess the climate's you got to make a decision.
Hey, flight.
Okay, my son.
Be ready to go. Night flights today. Be careful of that lock. Be careful of the debris that's around the corner. A13 and A12. A13 and A12. Idle towards me. You're not allowed to go yet. Just start idling towards me. 11 and 10, be ready. When that boat passes you, you fall in behind them. C flight, C13, C12. A13, A12. A13, A12. Come, guys. Two minutes to go, guys. Please start idling towards me. A13 and A12. A11 and A10 falling behind them. A13 and A12 idle towards me, but you're not allowed to leave yet. Come to us, France, idle towards me. 1 minute to go. 1 minute to go for flight A8. Keep on idling towards A7 and A10. Fall in behind them. 9 and 8, be ready. Just keep on idling towards me. A13. 30 seconds to go. A9 and A8, follow the cue, you can go. Just slowly idle out towards them. Double up in front of them, next to them, Brom. A11, A10, please follow quicker, go quicker. Back up to the boat in front of you, that's it. Go A10, you can double up and close the gap. 2 seconds to go, 1 second to go, A8, you can go. A8, you can go. 8, you can go. A9. Go, Charles. Go. A7, be ready. Yes, that's it. Double up next to each other, guys. Double up with the boat in front of you. A7, you can go. A6, be ready. A6, you can go. Double up with the boat. A7. 5 and 4, you can go. Double up next to each other, guys, and go. Boat C, 2 and 1, you can go. Boat 2, double up to the boat next to you, and guys, close the gap in front of you, you can go. Keep doubling up, guys, and keep up with the boat in front of you. We want you to close the gap.
Well, as the last boats are exiting the gates, I hope you enjoyed that footage from on the water. And it's been beautiful here. It's been absolutely fantastic. It's been emotional with the beautiful South African national anthem. And while we're on the topic of South Africa, we have a former Protea angler. And something I mentioned yesterday on stage, Lionel, welcome. Thanks for joining us on the live view. Something I mentioned up on stage, you're a former Protea angler, but you're also now representing USA. You've made this long trip and moved to the States. And I know that you played a pivotal role in getting that USA team here and all the work you've done. So I'm going to look at it from that perspective and say thank you very much. You've really allowed the Americans to get here. I'm sure you've supported them a lot in helping them understand the river, as well as the accommodation, the flights, the best way to travel, all those important things, and it's played a big role in getting them here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously once I had got the call and asked do I want to be involved in this whole setup, I said yes. I mean, for me it's an honor, you know, being part of the South African team at one stage, and then all of a sudden getting invited and being part of the United States team. I mean, that's where I live now. I call that home now, you know. So for me that was an honor, you know, and obviously then I got involved, started working with the guys behind the scenes. Some of them are not here, and then obviously working with the actual team, you know, and filling them in what they need to pack, you know, what type of weather we're going to expect, what type of fishing we're going to expect, and for the most part, I mean, we did pretty good. Yesterday had that bad weather not pulled in, man, I think you would have seen something pretty spectacular, you know. But obviously that weather pulled in and it changed a couple of things for us. But I think the guys did well enough to maintain, and we'll see, you know, if this sticks up, maybe something will happen this afternoon for them, and then you may see something that you won't expect.
We'll talk a little bit about your team tactics. When I say your team, I mean the USA team. And but before we get to that, tell us, where has Lionel Berta been for the last few years? I know you moved over there. You've been on the FLW circuit. Tell us a little about that experience.
Yeah, well, obviously you know that I fished here, you know, for divisional teams make the South African team, and then I gave that up because I'd pretty much achieved the goals that I wanted to achieve, and obviously I knew that at some stage I was going to leave to go to the States. From the fishing point of view, got there, really didn't fish the first year, started fishing the second year, because when I fish I set myself goals, and my goal was eventually to get either to the tour or to get to the elites. I decided to fish FLW, so that's where I started at the bottom, BFLs. Did pretty good on the BFLs. My first year on the BFLs, I made the All-American. And that's, I mean, competing, 50 guys go to the All-American. You're competing against 22,000 anglers in that season.
It's a much bigger scale, and I'm sure the anglers themselves that understand the South African way of fishing and the South African process that we do for our qualifications, and then we always look up to and look across to the USA and know that bass fishing is on such a huge scale over there. How was it arriving in the States, being from South Africa and trying to compete over there?
It was difficult. My first year, I'm not going to lie, was a difficult year. The waters are different. Believe it or not, the fishing is slightly different. And I think the United States team, our team now, have realized, what I was trying to tell them, that it fishes differently. We get a lot of pressure on these waters. They get a lot of pressure on their waters. But I think you got to take per square foot of water, they have way more fish than what we have. So obviously the fishing seems to be easier there, but it's the same old deal. I mean, we're all the same. You still got to find the fish, and that determines a good angler from an average angler. If you're able to find fish and you're good at finding fish, I mean, it doesn't matter where you go, you're going to do well, and that's I went there, and I knew that eventually, once I got to know the lakes a little bit, I felt that I could do well, but I took it stage by stage. BFLs first. Got to the All-American achievement I made, that I set goal I set, done that, moved on to the Opens, which at that time they were calling the Rayovacs and the Everstarts. Qualified the first year on the Everstarts for the tour, and I didn't fish. I decided not to do it. I felt I wasn't ready, so I fished another year then they changed it to the Coasters. Fished another year on the Coasters. Then I qualified again, and that's when I thought, well, if I could do it back to back, I think I'm good enough for the tour. And I went to the tour, and I was pretty successful. For the first time I fished the tour, out of the 6 lakes we fished, I only had ever fished one of them. And I collected 4 checks for that year, so I was pretty happy with that.
And I know that you're running a Ranger boat over there. What's it like being involved in the sport there? Is it difficult to get sponsorships? Do you find it hard? I know that you've got your own rod company now. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, first of all, on the sponsorship side, it is difficult. When you're new there, people are sort of reluctant to give you sponsorship unless you know somebody or something like that. So luckily, being from South Africa and being sponsored by Mercury, which have been really, really loyal to me, in South Africa for a long, long time. And then obviously, I'm not one that hops sponsors. I try and keep who I have. So I went back, when I went to the States, I decided Mercury was going to be the deal. Ranger, big sponsor of mine. Lowrance, I've always been a Lowrance fan. I'm always going to stay loyal to all those sponsors. And then obviously we started the, Halo, which is our rod company in the United States. And, I think it was just bringing out a selection of rods at the right time. And that's what we did. We brought something out a little bit different to what everyone else was bringing, and it took off in America. And everyone loves them, and a lot of guys fish with them. So yeah, that's how we go.
And just explain to me how you got involved in the rod building company and Halo as a whole. Is it easier accessible to start a company like that, or what were the ideas and what was the inspirations for that?
Well, yeah, I think America's America, land of opportunity. So, I was involved in the tackle industry, obviously with Gary Yamamoto Custom Baits. So, being from knowing what's going on in the tackle industry and going there and starting, a little tackle, we bought a tackle store, got involved in the tackle store and that. And what had actually happened, how we got into the rod building thing, is there was a tour event going to be on Okeechobee, and a lot of guys were coming in and they were
complaining about different rods and, you know, where can they find a decent flipping stick. And I was already busy designing one because our tackle store was in Okeechobee. And I'd got some prototypes in already, but at that time it was only flipping sticks. And I gave one to a good friend of mine, JT Kenny, and he did pretty well on it in practice. And Randall Tharp then had issues with his rods, you know, breaking and that, and then he asked JT, because they're friends obviously on tour, what rod you using, and he said, well, I met this guy and I'm using a Halo. And Randall then called me, asked me for one of those rods, which, because I only had 3 samples, I gave him one, and he ended up winning the tournament on that rod, you know, because Okeechobee, everybody knows, you got to fish the thickest junk.
I remember that. I remember watching and thinking, wow, Halo rods, and here's one of the biggest names in the sport, 2 of the biggest names in the sport besides yourself, by the way. And fishing with a Halo rod, it's amazing. I felt proud, and it's always great to see you over there. I know there was a FLW that I watched live, and they interviewed you. I think it was on one of the rivers on the edge there, and it was great to see you competing over there. It's awesome to see. I know I said it on stage. I'm going to say it for the last time again. We're very proud of you. We see you over in the States. You're fishing with the USA Bass today, but you're a champion of the sport in South Africa, and it's been really great to speak to you. One last question. I know you were involved in, I think it was the Bet series. You had your own show. I have to ask you the question, did you bring a sharp hook?
Man, as I used to end all my shows in South Africa, remember, keep a sharp hook.
Well, there you have it. One more question for Lionel before you run away and before we cut the feed. There's a lot of juniors running around here, and they've played a pivotal role in the organization of this event, and a lot of them are looking up to these USA pros, seeing them on the stage in the States. Do you have any advice for these youngsters, maybe the ones that are just leaving high school, that want to go and pursue a career in bass fishing, coming from South Africa, going to the States? What would your advice be?
Man, it's the same. Just, if that's your dream and that, don't give up. You know, set yourself goals. You know, that's what I've always done in my fishing career. I've set myself goals, and I try to achieve those goals. And just don't give up if you're trying to achieve those goals. Just keep at it, and you can, I mean, anybody can do what they want to do, provided they stay focused on what they want to do.
Thanks very much, Lionel, again. And that's going to conclude the feed. You're welcome to stay here right with me. That's going to conclude the feed for today. We're going to pack up the gear as quick as we possibly can. We're going to try get on the water and bring as much live coverage as we possibly can. Thank you all very much for tuning in. Thanks for the fantastic comments. It's been great to broadcast here. I'm maybe go have a 5-minute power nap and then get on the water, rest the voice a bit. We'll catch up with you guys a little bit later.